The following game has no ESRB rating, nor is there any sort of listing for restrictive content found within the game. From what I've seen so far, it does contain space combat, explosions, ships on fire, and what the game considers strong language, although I don't believe that language is considered cursing in modern day civilization terms, but it's still there, and the meaning, I believe, is readily visible, if not overtly listed as such. That being said, if I were to guess as to what its rating would have been, I would say it would most likely have been rated T for teen by the ESRB. So, given that assumption, and again, it is assumption, so of course, viewer discretion is advised, I recommend anyone under the age of 13 not watch the following video. You have been warned. Greetings and salutations, I am Outlier and I bid you welcome to this channel. Joining me today is of course my usual co-hosts, Snowball and Wolf. And today we're returning back to Starhammer the Vanguard Prophecy. So the premise of Starhammer the Vanguard Prophecy is that you play as a, I want to say starship captain, but you don't just command your ship. You're actually a tactical strike group commander, and you basically command a small flotilla of combat vessels that take part in space battles against either hostile human enemies or an alien species known as the Nautilids. Well, that's because I almost forgot the name of the alien species. It's been a while since I played this game, plus I'm generally horrible with names on the get-go, but luckily I remembered who they were. That makes no sense. And so you go about completing various missions against one or both of these enemies for your government, which is the military of a settled colony world. I forget the exact name of the world, but basically you fight to defend the planet from all who would oppose it, and both the rebel faction and the Nautilids do seem to threaten it. The game also contains a branching storyline, which, while I'm fairly certain the end result stays the end result, it's not like a case where you have multiple 15 different kinds of endings, but it's a case where
You can select between 1 or 2 missions. You complete one of the 2 missions, then it moves on to a third one with whatever mission you chose and how well you did in said mission affecting what happens throughout the rest of the campaign. At least I believe that's how it works. I haven't gotten all that far into the campaign to see any sort of ending, so I can't say with any certain whether or not it's just one singular ending, just with a variety of minor different tweaks, or there is actually 15 different endings to this game. I should point out that I haven't really played this game in between episodes. From what I've seen, this isn't really a game that I can just simply continue on at my own pace and then double back for videos, unlike other certain games where I have a save file for the series that I make videos of and show to the internet, and then I have my own personal save file which I spend 100 times more hours in just to complete the storyline because I enjoy the game. But that's neither here nor there, and I do have a tendency to digress if you've seen any video that I've ever made. But again, that's a moot point, and if you haven't seen last episode, I left off, if memory serves, having protected a salvage vessel. Yeah, having protected a salvage vessel from, that was trying to salvage a downed combat vessel of our faction from both the raiders trying to take it apart for parts, and the Nautilid, which were there for reasons known only to themselves. They don't really talk all that much, apparently. At least not to us. They show up, we fight, and somebody dies. But we got reamed out for that mission because the mission prior I chose to press on ahead as opposed to protecting the salvage engineers yet again. And there were some issues with command over that. So we may look at losing command of the strike group. But I have a choice of 2 different missions available to me right now, which is, if memory serves, defend a starbase or go out hunting the rebels. And I need to choose one or the other, and I'm assuming whichever one I choose affects the next mission in a certain way, and all that fun stuff. And that's pretty much right where I left it, and that's right where we'll be picking it back up at. And as such, this game is of course made by Thank you again. And that being said, let us begin.
Okay, so here we are at the chapter selection screen. For some reason, keep thinking I can rotate this, but apparently I can't. Alright, so I have 2 missions available. The Inquiry as the Hunted, where the Executive Board spin mission is working overtime to prove, disprove, factualize, and canonize the insurgent attacks on NSG-7, that's our naval strike group, as freak accidents with some leftover Nautilid holding over from First Contact. That's the war that our people originally fought with the Nautilid several decades ago, of which our character's father apparently excelled in and was deemed a hero, but he's no longer returning our calls, so who knows what's going on. Anyway, someone somewhere deep in that machine thinks it's better to have the people believe in the statistical anomaly of returning squids, rather than an extremist group that is armed and targeting command forces. The ministries are applying pressure to conduct an internal investigation. The Coalition Command is looking for a fleet commander to lead it. As long as I don't dock at Delta Mark II, I still qualify as a strike group commander, a technicality, but it'll work. No one in the Admiralty is happy about my applying to lead this investigation, but they can't deny that I'm the only one with first-hand experience with these guys. With every other commander rushing off to avoid the ethical ambiguity of dealing with terrorists, it looks like I'm the only option they've got. Surprisingly, AK has been pretty helpful in selling this point. This comment could turn out to be useful to have around, despite his inability to crack a smile. My gut tells me this investigation is supposed to be a little more sensitive than a flush out and a cleanup of some reactionary gun nuts from the briefing application. Thorough knowledge of the political status between executive board ministry branches and their satellite interest groups is a requirement of the rostered commanding officer. I'm not sure who they're going to find holding the gun at the end, But Finnegan, that's uh, let's say adult grade language in this universe. But Finnegan it, I'm looking forward to returning the favor to the Muckers, that's another adult grade word, that sunk Dale and Tension. And that's really about it for the description of that. And the other one is the Shipbuilder's Yard. Naval commanders requesting any undirected fleet groups to reform around DM2 and clear out the Nautilid showing up around the shipyards. Defensive rosters are coming through from NavSec. The priorities haven't gone beyond Condition 3, so no one's taking the reappearance of squids too seriously yet. AK can't tell me if there's been any updates from the Ranger units. Walking on, I have no idea how to pronounce that name, has out beyond the settlement line. The Outlier is being surprisingly quiet about the Nautilid return. I would have thought we'd be sirens and alarms by now. Stiff upper lip, I guess. What if they're wrong, though? If the squids start reappearing in bigger numbers, we might just see the start of the first major live operation since Dad's war. And trust him to be AWOL from the boardwalk right when the squids start invading again. Whatever, stop the Nautilid from getting too close to the shipyards. Leave the rest to someone else with the pay grade to match. So those are my two options, and last time I had an option between two different missions, I chose the more aggressive stance, and how do I put this? Got reamed because I was not doing my job. And while I don't believe that this is the case, I am actually tempted to defend the shipyard. While it's technically not my job to defend the shipyard, part of me thinks that if I don't protect the shipyard from the Nautilid, worse things will happen than if I go and investigate the rebel factions that are attacking our ships and let them get away as opposed to the squids attacking our shipyard. Although now that I'm looking at it, there is also something known as a war scale, which I haven't fully figured out exactly what it does. I know that whatever missions you take have a war scale of either offensive or defensive. I currently have a defensive war scale, and while I was looking at these missions, the Shipbuilder's Yard doesn't require any specific war scale, whereas Inquiry as the Hunted requires one defensive war scale, which I have, I guess, 17. So I wonder if it's offensive. Does this mission not happen and I just have this one, or is there like a third mission around that I would have access to instead of this one? So as I was saying, I'm actually realizing that it requires defensive war scale, and I'm trying to, I guess, keep the war scale defensive. I'm actually tempted to take Inquiry as the Hunted, but you know, it's a hard mission to even pronounce. So let's go with Shipbuilder's Yard, just simply because that was the original plan. And plus, I think the Nautiloids are somewhat easier to fight and kill than the Raiders are, because Raiders have shields, and as far as I know, the Nautiloids don't. Of course, I say that as they come out with some sort of massive super capital ship, which basically throws balls of acid everywhere. But let's proceed. And I get new reinforcements, the Hammerhead class destroyer. So apparently I get a new flagship. Apparently there's text here. So the Nova Shield Daily, Admiral won't commit to numbers. Stark images have come to light of Nautilid-like creatures attached with an admission of hostilities incoming from Coalition Command. Admiral Marshal Walkington has issued a release that naval forces have encountered a small number of Nautilid entities 24 clicks inside the settlement line. This comes in contrast to the no updates position being deployed by Coalition Ground Forces communication. Most NavSec chatter has been moved behind hushed channels. It says hash, but it looks like it. Assuming it's supposed to be hushed. Meaning, until an official statement is released by Admiral Walkington, Nav or General Den Anhal, CGF, this is not a military procedure sanctioned by the board. GSS has fallen 0.78 points in the last 2 hours, reportedly as a result of these missed broadcast opportunities. Not quite certain what this last part is, but okay. So there's that, and let's proceed with the mission. Alright, so this is the mission briefing. Mission description is neutral. So if it was defensive or offensive war scale, it would say here. The action here at Delta Mark II has been relatively quiet. Ludo Derrybridge, the surviving comms officer from Liberty 2, has been transferred to my bridge. And he's already battering on Haven like it's our fault we weren't sunk instead of tension. AK has dialed in a Rangers report on a fresh batch of squids bearing down planetside past the Delta Mark. Command wants us to break from patrol around the shipyards to intercept and contain the Nautilid before they breach too far into Coalition airspace. Last thing Command PR wants to give away right now is some vid streams of rampaging squids within radar distance of the boardwalk. Eliminate all Nautilid forces. Let us proceed. Right, and this is the wireframe formation selection for the flotilla, and I have the ability to deploy 4 command points, and that is, so basically I can deploy up to 4 ships. So currently, and I can move my ships anywhere I want on this grid, and that's the formation that we'll get. So I currently have selected the Hammerhead class destroyer. You know, let's rename this, because I can't pronounce that. I'm sure I can pronounce it, I just don't feel like it. But, like every other ship that I've done, it needs a bold name, a strong name, a name capable of striking fear into the hearts of enemies, assuming the Nautids actually have hearts.
Yes, I'm going to name the ship after a baked good. I must keep with the theming.
Of course, now I can't think of a name. We'll go with Peanut Bar. I like peanuts. I like peanut butter. Don't often have peanut bars. But I'm crazy like that, so Peanut Bar it is. Right, in addition to the peanut bar, I can get 4 extra ships. So let's start off with the obvious, the Pound Cake and the Biscuit, which are my 2 former flagships, a frigate and a corvette. And I have, oh wow, I actually have 2 extra command points. Also, I can select reinforcements, so if I've lost a couple of ships or I need extra ships, I can select come down here to select reinforcements. However, I only have so many reinforcement points to spend, and each ship costs a certain amount. So I only have 84 available points, and the smallest ships, the Swordfish class Raider, I believe it's called, or scout vessel, costs 110. So I'm not able to actually call reinforcements, but I can call in another Raider, I can call in another Corvette, I can call in another frigate apparently, or a light cruiser. That's interesting. Light cruiser and frigate are new. Last mission, I believe I could only summon up to a corvette. I mean, I would kind of like a light cruiser. Oh, no, that's a frigate. I'm fairly certain I would kind of like a light cruiser, although it looks like it only has front-facing weapons, so that could be a problem, although it does have homing missiles. But anyway, I can't afford anything, so kind of a moot point. So I thought I could only get 4 different ships in. Apparently I can get 5. So let's go with our 2 standard raiders of Honey and the Jam. Whereas the Butter, our extra final raider, will just simply stay off by the wayside as it is wont to do. Now, I can just put ships wherever I want, as I said, on this grid. But they don't have to be on a 2-dimensional plane. I can also go up or down in 3 dimensions. So what I've done in the past is have the main core of my fleet on this main plane, as it were, and then my 2 raiders be above and below my flagship. Spread out the 2 ship, the corvette and the frigate a little bit more, and I guess that's good for now. So you know what? Let's proceed. Alright, CBDR. I have absolutely no idea what that's an acronym for. Alright, so Ludo Dairy Bridge says we have constant bearing on the Nautilid forces. Expected contact time way too soon. You're gun shy after what happened on the Liberty, I get that, but I need your razor. Give me contact time. Sir, 2 clicks, sir. Weapons live and engage all marks. Whoever let a squid pass the containment line owes the rest of the strike group around when we return to dock. End of transmission. Okay, so... Alright, just gotta remember the camera controls. Okay, so that rotates. This slowly moves around on a lateral plane. Zoom in, zoom out. That does nothing. Okay. I can also... No, that rotates. I was going to say click and drag, but... Could have sworn there's a faster way to do this. Oh well. Okay, so the current forces of knowledge that we have are... Looks like 3 sprayers, which are quite healthy. If I say 3, make that 6 sprayers. I have no idea what they're equivalent to size of, but it looks like they have 100 health. So apparently their rear is weak and they spit acid. Okay, I have to be honest. I was actually joking about the whole acid spitting thing, but apparently that's a thing. And then I also have a half dozen krill right here. Another 4 krill right here. Looks like another half dozen. Yeah, looks like another half dozen among the first line of sprayers. So if I turn on, I think that's weapons ranges. Yeah, so if I turn on weapons ranges, you can see exactly the arcs of weapons fire that I have access to. And I probably should have put the Corvette on this side, but I assumed we'd be facing the enemy. So there's that. So, yeah. So the game is played basically in turn-based combat, sort of, kind of ish. What I mean by that is the game is played out in turns, but you don't actually take your turn and then the enemy takes their turn and then you take another turn. Or, well, technically you do, but not individual units like certain turn-based games. And so you basically position your ships where you want them to be at the end of the turn, and then select end turn, and everything moves. Now you move a ship by clicking on its silhouette here, and dragging it anywhere within this trapezoidal arc. This is as far as this particular ship can go in this turn. So since this is the Pound Cake frigate that we have, or the Albatross class frigate that I've named the Pound Cake, its main guns are to the side, although it does have a laser beam out front. But since the Nautilid's are over here, as far as I know, we are zooming out, right? Yeah, that looks to be the only Nautilids I can see, so... So I'm assuming this is the entire strike force. So I'm going to have the Pound Cake do a hard turn this way. The Peanut Bar do a not so hard turn this way just to get its forward arc facing them. The Biscuit will do the same. Its primary guns are to the fore with some guns to the aft, so it's best that it faces the enemy anyway. And then the Raiders, Swordfish class Raiders, only have forward firing arcs, so they have to be facing the enemy anyway. And I'll have the Honey and the Jam turn also this way. So if that's where I want all of my ships, I just simply hit go or show battle, and then everything occurs in this cinematic style where everybody turns. some more so than others. Every different ship has their own different type of speed, and you know, faster ships move further and all that fun stuff. So, also there is a chance that ships can actually hit each other. If I'm not careful, I can have the biscuit here slam into the back end of the peanut bar, which means both ships take damage and neither ship can move for a turn. So I'll do something crazy and silly and stupid and just have everything barrel ahead at full speed, which means that the swordfish will start outpacing every other vessel. So you know what? Rather than doing that, I'll have them align with the peanut bar for right now. Let us continue. Everybody is technically still out of range, so no one's firing. I say that as people open fire. Alright, so it looks like that the GM took a few shots to the shields. Not enough to actually matter right now. But what I am going to do is I'm going to pull power from the engines and put it to shields. So I believe anywhere from 40% and higher, the shields will start to actually regenerate. So I'll try to keep weapons around the same amount, but it means that it's not going to be moving as fast or as far. In fact, let me do that to pretty much all of my vessels. Or at least the swordfish. So since the primary guns, or at least I would say the primary guns, but I think the primary major gun is the laser beam out front. And the destroyer, for all of its capabilities, doesn't have any specialty weapons, so no missiles. That's the Corvette's job. But I'll have it swing slightly around. You know what? I'll actually have it barrel straight in. Same with the Albatross. Then I'll have the swordfish swing back around because they got misangled during the last turn. And I'll just have all my other vessels swing around this way, so that way we're facing the Nautilid horde. Okay, so that's a thing, and I think the Corvette actually refilled its missiles. I know in between chapters, again, a lot of ships have specialty weapons. The Corvettes are missiles. The frigate is basically anti-missile countermeasures. And I know that in between missions, or at least battles, they don't get restocked, only in between chapters. But I guess we're in a new chapter, because I'm fairly certain the standard complement is 12 missiles. At the very least, the frigate's primary complement is 20 countermeasures. I know I used at least one last mission. And in fact, let's actually use one right now. Because the peanut bar's silhouette is red, that means it collided with something and can't move. So I'm actually going to drop the countermeasure right here. But you know, if it couldn't move, it would have no silhouette. If it kept going the way it is going, it would fly into something. But anyway, let's pop the countermeasure right here. I believe it has a good range. So we'll go do that. However, I should point out that this one Nautilid is pretty much right in front of us anyway. So there's no real way to, well, not smack into it. So hopefully something important will fly into its forward arc, because it's not moving anytime soon. At least not next mission, or at least not next turn. And I'll have the pound cake turn slightly this way, so that way its starboard guns can sweep in front of the krill, because we are definitely outnumbered. And then the Corvette I'll have turned this way, and you know what? I'll actually do nothing, because if I fire a missile, something tells me I'll hit the peanut bar. I don't want to hit the peanut bar. But I do still have, that's not the right vessel. But I do still have the raiders, so I'll have them... I mean, there's no good way to swing them around. They're going to be facing the entirety of the enemy threat, but I'll have them swing this way. Also, the destroyer did take a few hits to the forward shield, so I'll boost the shields this way. Because it's a flagship, it's getting a boost from the crew, so... Part of me does wonder if I go up or down. Okay, so I was going to say if I go down I can avoid the hit, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen anytime soon. As far as I know, even if we can't move, we can still fire the guns. So these Nautilid that are in, or at least going to enter the side arcs, should be still be attacked. So now we see who dies. Okay, so I have no idea what these lines are, unless that's the acid being spit from the sprayers. But a lot of the crew are still healthy. A lot of the crew are still healthy, although some of them are in fact injured. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the pound cake continue on in this line to hopefully keep some of them in its side arc, starboard arc I should say. Put the shields up to here. Okay, so at 40% they don't actually recharge shields, so let's try 41%. Okay, so it has to actually be above 40%. So I'm going to have the pound cake swing this way, and then that means I have to adjust the swordfish slightly. A little bit more than I would have liked. There we go. The same with the peanut bar. No, that's still at 40%. There we go. And just because everybody else is doing, and they actually do have some shield damage, let's shift the power around for the biscuit to shields as well. So as I said, the biscuit has a forward firing arc, so rather than have them just keep turning around to keep the Nautilids in the side arcs, I need to have the biscuit just keep moving forward, and that will collide with somebody. That will collide with somebody. I mean, I'm basically flying straight into the spreaders, doing it this way. Oh no, it looks like they did actually kill somebody. So that's one krill dead, two krill dead. No, looks like only two. I was going to say, is there like a third one around here? But I don't think so. Anyway, as I'm going to say, I'll have the biscuit move here to keep something in its forward arc. And I'm also going to get greedy and just fire off a missile. Alright, so let's target this completely healthy one. And I shouldn't have to worry about hitting the peanut bar because it's not moving in that direction. Speaking of moving in that direction, I'm going to have the swordfish swing back around. So hopefully they can... It's apparently as far as it can go. Okay. So hopefully they can actually shoot something. I think one's engines are different or have slightly more power than the other one. Alright, now we see what happens. Alright, so the crew is talking. Ludo is saying, "You're looking a little green there, Drop Pig. I'm still not used to the squid, sir." That's what Heaven was. Gunnery Ensign Jinx. "Sir, that's not my rank. You're the only one hitting their marks with a dam at the moment, Heaven. As far as I'm concerned, you're my gunner lieutenant, just missing the stripes." Apparently got field promoted. "Sir, yes, sir. Lieutenant Derrybridge, only a Drop Pig gets to call another that name to their face." No idea what a Drop Pig is. "You're an active officer during a live engagement. Act like it." "Sir, boss is not taking any flack." Okay, so we are now basically flying into everything, so let's actually turn around. And I know that missile hit somebody, I just don't know who. Although now it looks like that there's 4 dead krill, or at least 3 dead krill. I'll have the pound cake swing back around to keep these guys in its side arcs, and it's actually falling behind. So I'll have the biscuit swing around to reinforce the pound cake, and I'll have the peanut bar do our, well, I mean, this is technically a hard turn, but I want them to, they said that the spreaders are weak to the rear, so I'm actually going to have it press forward this way. See how well they can do. Yeah. And there's basically, it's a target-rich environment right now, so we'll just have the swordfish just keep their current arc this way. Have them up and a little bit above and below everything else so that we don't fly into anything else. So let's see how this goes. Okay, I would say that they killed a bunch of krill, but all these are healthy, which means that they missed. So this sprayer is actually about to fly into the pound cake. So I'm going to have the pound cake do a tight turn here. The destroyer is losing its forward shield. It's taking a few hits to the left. Most of the enemies are to the left-hand side, so I'm going to lock that bar, as well as the rear bar and the bottom bar, which also has taken damage, and drain the other 2 slightly to get the forward shields back up to 20, even though that technically there's no one in front of them right now. So I'm going to have to do a hard turn this way. Now that's going to fly into somebody. What about this way? That's going to fly into somebody else. So you know what? They're going to go up a plane and then do a hard turn this way to hopefully get behind these sprayers. I mean, this sprayer looks practically almost dead. It's at 1/3. It's got 1/3 of its health left, so I'm going to turn the Corvette slightly to it, and I'm going to fire off another missile at the sprayer, assuming I can select it. Here we go. In fact, I'm going to fire 2 missiles, no 1. I don't know how much damage the missiles will do against the sprayer. This is the first mission I've actually fought against them. So we'll go conservative because I only now have 11 missiles with no easy way to resupply, as far as I know. But if 1 missile doesn't kill it, and it does about, say, 10 points damage, next turn is getting 2. Just angle this slightly so I can see things better. Maybe not that. Okay, so now I don't think I actually moved the Raiders. I'll have the Raiders swing... No, I'll have the Raiders swing this way, because this is where most of the krill are. Something tells me the tiny little guns on the swordfish aren't going to do much against the sprayers. It's kind of a small ship goes after small ship, big ship fights big ship type deal. Let's go! Right, so on the plus side, the missile missed the pound cake. It hasn't hit the sprayer yet, but it looks like it will next mission. Next turn. The pound cake's about to fly into somebody. So they'll go up slightly and do a hard turn this way. I'll have the pound cake turn this way. Alright, it looks like the peanut bar took some hits to the left shield again. As well as the rear shield, so I'll pull slightly from the right and the bottom shield to reinforce the left shield. And drain the front shield slightly to reinforce the rear. Because for some reason, in my infinite wisdom, I got my destroyer completely surrounded by everybody. They're going to turn this way. In fact, I'm also going to boost shield power. So they're basically going to be a little more than a turret, slightly moving turret, but their shields should now recharge at a rate of 0.1 per second. Okay, so if I dump pretty much practically everything into shields, it recharges at 0.2 per second, 0.22 per second. So I'll do half power to the shields. Gets me 1.4. I'll have to take that. And apparently I'm going to fly into somebody doing that. So they go this way. It looks like the sprayers are actually moving off this way. I wonder, do I actually have a line that they can't cross? Like, is there like a zone of control that I can't let them pass? So like they get past this asteroid, it's considered a mission failure. But I'm not seeing anything specifically like that, so I'm assuming that's a no. But the mission briefing said that the sprayers are weak to the rear, and it looks like the swordfish are actually angling towards the rear. A lot of people seem to be ignoring them, so I'm going to have them shift slightly this way. See if they can't get behind this sprayer and just wail on the thing. Okay, we'll see what happens. Oh, this sprayer died. Okay, I'm guessing that sound means somebody's shields had failed. And the missile did not fully kill this thing? I still have absolutely no idea what these blue lines are. So I'm going to have the destroyer swing back around because now they're behind everybody. And just boost the front shield slightly by pulling from a little bit from everywhere. Have the destroyer swing back this way, back into the fray. I am going to have to worry about this Nautilid. It looks like it's heading off in this direction, so you know what? I'll have the pound cake do a hard turn. See if it can't get it within its firing arc. If not this turn, then hopefully next turn. Okay, I see what happened. The reason why I got that alarm is because one of my swordfish took a hit. Not just a hit, they collided with somebody. So I'm going to boost their shields by 50%, and it looks like they actually lost their rear shielding. So I'm going to just max that out by pulling from everywhere. So that way the jam is still covered. And because they hit somebody, they can't go anywhere. So they're basically a sitting duck next turn. So I'm going to have the honey swing back around this way. Have the peanut bar swing a little bit more this way. Hopefully keep everybody in its side arcs until its forward lasers can fire. And now we go. Okay, so this thing is technically still alive, and it actually healed slightly. And it's actually out of range, so I'm going to have the pound cake just keep moving this way. I'm going to have the biscuit move this way. And fire off another missile. Peanut bar will shift slightly this way. Where are my swordfish? Okay, so that's the peanut bar. Oh, the peanut bar actually took a hit to the hull. It's at 98% hull. Huh. Okay. Not certain when it took that hit, but it did. Although I believe it did say that the sprayers have mist that can weaken and nullify shields, so maybe that's what happened. But I'll have the jam swing back around this way. And where is... I'll have the honey swing here. Hopefully keep these sprayers in its arc. This one's just basically off in the wrong direction from the get-go. They do seem to want to move in this direction. See how this goes. Okay, so the missile cleared the pound cake. And it's on its way to the Nautilid, so hopefully it'll hit it this next turn, and that'll be it. So that way I don't have to worry about a far-off enemy. I'll have the pound cake swing this way. It looks like this Nautilid's heading in this direction. So hopefully it'll enter the starboard arc of the pound cake. The peanut bar will do a hard turn this way. Well, actually, no, a long turn this way. I actually forgot about these guys. Pound cake, the peanut bar will move this way. Yeah, okay, they're on different planes. Can't remember which swordfish is on the same plane as... Actually, I think it was the biscuit that I increased the elevation of. Yeah. Okay. So I have the peanut bar and the honey and the jam fly towards these three sprayers. The biscuit's basically going to fly into its own death if I take it this way, so hard turn this way. And then the pound cake, yeah, doing a hard turn, well, turn this way. I'm tempted to watch the missile make certain it actually hits this Nautilid. Okay, so A, it did not hit the Nautilid. It will hit the pound cake if I'm not paying attention, and but the Nautilid is dead anyway. And the pound cake is actually low on shields. Efficiency reduced. Huh. No, it's not. Okay, that's weird. I don't know if that's some sort of glitch or it's just... an effect that is affecting the shields. But I'm going to have the biscuit do a hard turn to fight these krill. I'm hoping this missile doesn't hit my own ship, because that would technically be annoying. Have the peanut bar do a hard turn to get back to the pound cake. Come on. Same with the swordfish. Okay, so on the plus side, the missile did not hit the pound cake. On the other plus side, the pound cake seems to have figured out what's going on with its shields and didn't take any hull damage. So I'm going to have him swing back around this way to hopefully get this Nautilid back into its arc. It looks like I'm going to drop the peanut bar level and have it swing this way because it's about to hit my swordfish, well, the jam. So the jam will veer off this way, hopefully. Do a hard turn this way to avoid collision. The honey will swing back here, and where is... Alright, so the biscuit seems to be doing fine. I'll just keep having it turn this way. On the plus side, it looks like that this sprayer is now dead. So... He's got 9 missiles left. A whole bunch of slightly injured krill. This one's near death. This one's injured. So I'm going to have it hit 2 missiles with this thing. It will probably miss given the range. In fact, I'm not quite certain which one of these I actually targeted. Probably not this one. So it's probably going to be one of these two. Fire. Okay, so this missile's going to go veer off to God knows where. On the plus side, neither of my ships collided with each other. But it does mean that the jam is now facing not the battle. So I'm going to have the jam swing back around here, although technically, I was going to say I could have him swing back into the remaining sprayers. But like I said, small vessels fight small vessels, and all the krill are here. So... they're going to swing this way. The pound cake will swing back here to hopefully keep the krill in its port arc. Where is the problem with having things on different planes and right on top of each other is you can't really see where the markers are. So I'll have the honey swing back around here. Same with the peanut bar. Keep wanting to say pound cake, but no, the pound cake's no longer the flagship. And I'll have the biscuit swing this way, just to, swing a little bit more this way, so that way it keeps more krill in its forward arc. And then we'll see if these missiles bother to hit their target. And they do. Right, and because I was watching the missiles and not the rest of the battle, I'm not entirely certain what exactly happened. I would say that it killed the sprayer, but no, it's almost dead though. It looks like that these two sprayers actually collided with each other, so they did what I've been trying to avoid this entire battle. So apparently the peanut bar's shields are now disabled, which is probably what these little misty things are. They probably disable the shields slightly. So I'm guessing the more of them that there are, the more the shields are affected. So I should probably get my troops out of the ranges. But it looks like that there's only one krill left this way. So I'll actually have the biscuit try to swing around to, well, go after this one. So that sprayer's dead. Looks like I only have 3 krill and these 3 sprayers left. 4 krill, I'm sorry, I forgot about this one. And anyway, I'll have the pound cake swing this way. That's a krill. Have the jam swing back around here to hopefully target this krill. looks like it's going to be flying off in this direction, so I should probably have it actually do a harder turn than that over this way. Then I'll have the honey swing back this way, just to try to fight these krill. Okay, now we see what happens. Okay, so this krill died. This one is still technically alive. So I'm going to have the biscuit basically keep its course. The peanut bar will swing this way. See if it can get its laser on the heavily injured sprayer. The pound cake shields look to be about filled, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put more power to the shields, not shields, engines. I don't think they really changed much. And they are going to try to get within range, so you know what? I'm actually going to siphon off most of the shield power to the weapons and engines. Not that that did much, but as long as the pound cake doesn't take any hits, I should be fine for a turn. And they're basically going to fly this way. Hopefully keep this severely injured krill in its guns. And where are... I just realized I have actually the ability to click on ships down in this bar. Okay, so the jam flew into somebody, so it's not going anywhere. Who did it fly into? I did not see. Oh, probably this dead krill. They probably flew into front first to each other and the jam just unloaded. Wasn't paying attention to that particular part of the battlefield. There's a lot going on. Anyway, I'll have the honey swing back around. Yeah, that looks good. Now we see what happens. Okay, so it looks like the sprayers are back under, these three sprayers are back under the way and heading towards the peanut bar. So it's going to do a hard turn this way, hopefully sweep its laser across here, although I think it needs to be, target needs to be within the entire arc in order for the laser to work. But hopefully at the very least, it gets its side arcs into it and can fire off that way. I think these two krill down here are dead. At the very least, I'm not seeing them anymore. So I'm going to have the biscuit do a hard turn. The pound cake will keep going on its heading. This krill, I think, is dead. The jam, which is now underway, will turn here to hopefully fight this krill, and the honey will back up. The honey will back up the peanut bar. Okay, so several good things. Apparently the laser does not, the enemy that the laser is firing on does not need to be completely within the arc the entire time for the laser to work. And this sprayer is now dead. So turn back this way, although I think the peanut bar is back in the shield disruption area. Also, I think this krill is dead now. So I'm going to turn the jam this way. The pound cake goes forward as well. And the honey turns slightly here. I think all of the krill down here are also dead. So I'm going to have the biscuits boost its engines completely as maximum as it can go to try to catch up and move it here. Pound cake's still also out of range as well, so it gets its engines boosted to maximum and flies this way. Alright, and the peanut bar took out the other... Peanut bar killed everybody. Okay. So, Our character says, "Navsec, all marks have been intercepted and cleared." Our comment person, A.K. Hellstrom, the one crew member that's not actually on the ship, says Yardsman Felicitor is requesting naval presence at the station shipyard. Tell her we'll be on our way. Tell her we're on our way. End transmission. Okay, so even though this mission was... No, we're defending the shipyard. I was going to say, thought we took the other one, but no, this is the defend the shipyard mission. So we had an aggressive war skill of 5.2. The strongest enemy destroyed was the sprayer, and we're looking at the peanut bar. It killed 6 enemies this battle, took 8 hull damage, lost 49 shields, fired no missiles and did no repairs, not that it had any missiles to begin with. The pound cake killed 3 things this battle, and 12 things total, and lost 22 shields but took no hull damage. The biscuit, on the other hand, killed 1 thing. It took out 8 crew. And it fired 5 missiles, half its complement. The honey killed 3 things, and the jam actually took out at least 1 sprayer. That's interesting. Also took 5 hull damage, whereas the honey took no hull damage. In fact, they pretty much ignored the honey completely. It lost 5 points of shields. That's it. And it did 235 damage to the jam's 148. Biscuit only did 83 damage. Pound cake did 86, and the peanut bar did 290. So the swordfish that everybody ignored did the second highest amount of damage. Okay then. Let us proceed. Okay, so we now have 2 bits of story available. I mean, this is the first one that I read. So I think that's the first one I read. Yeah, this is the first one I read. So the new storyline bit is Statch Modus pushes for inquiry. Ministry insiders have leaked on... Hard to read with that background. Inquiry bill to be pushed through today's General Assembly agenda. The bill is part information release and part operations sign-off into the loss of 2 naval capital assets during attacks earlier this week. Motion by Natasha Stanch, Vice Chair of Statch Modus. The bill has been signed off by Executive Director Hector Gerardi, BIS, and William Statch, STM, 2 of Admiral Wilkinson's largest supporters on the board. The 2-page document is brief, making no assumptions about the loss of the ships, and instead asks that the Admiralty release information as to the nature of the lost ships to the board and itemize any requisition orders for replacement assets crunched from Delta Mark II. Trades for Kohler Tended are down 0.15 points due to rumors that a decommissioned ore fabrication plant has ties to the recent naval losses. That's interesting. Okay, so the next mission is Yardman's Call. Yardsman Felicitor has called Condition 2 back at DM2. Command is complying with the request with the full defensive perimeter around the shipyards. We've been sent back to push the last pod of stragglers out of missile range to minimize damage to the station. Last thing you need is Squid Gunk messing up Felicitor's shiny new boots while I'm supposed to be on patrol duty. Finnegan, I'll never hear the end of it. Clear the Nautilid threat from Delta Mark II. Now let's press on. Curious to see where this goes. And no extra briefing, no extra command points. I have now 58 reinforcement points available. I just wonder, it was 84 last time. Weird. Anyway, so the fleet's the same number of ships, same grouping of ships, so let's just proceed. Yardsman's Call. Alright, so intercept and eliminate the Nautilid forces. Another dice. The coalition is rife with them. Heinrich, Dad always said I should look you up once I have my own boat. With the number of wrecks he's brought to me over the years, the least he could have done was not bring my name up when teaching his own kid to drive. Jokes aside, Valoran, have you heard from your dad? Not recently, no. Well, we'll keep an ear out for him. You worry about keeping those squids off our boundaries. Those bigger ones have some serious long-range projectiles that I don't want anywhere near my workshops. Got an albatross sailing with you? I recommend liberal use of their sentry countermeasures. I think I actually do. Okay, so I'm assuming... Oh, hang on, there's more. And watch out for those weird ones with the fins. Every time one of them gets close, I react as Fritz and lose power. Roger that, Yarsman. I'll make sure... we'll make some space for your NGs, and keep you at condition 2. End of transmission. Okay, so... if I look at everything... So I'm assuming the Nautilid brought artillery this mission. So... the new one's the Guardian, that's what this thing is. I'm assuming this is the fin one. Apparently its bottom is armored. And it spits out organic homing missiles. That's gotta be fun. And then more krill over here. More krill over here. And disruptors. So these are the ones that probably kill power to everything. And their front and top are armored, but if I get them in broadsides, they're weak. Okay. So I got 3 disruptors. I was going to say 2, but there's another one over here. Looks like 2 Guardians and probably about a dozen krill. Yeah, that looks like everything. Although it looks like that they're between us and the station, so I'm guessing I can't let them get this. Oh, I can rotate the camera. Okay, that's what I get for not playing this game as often as I probably should. But as I was saying, I'm guessing we can't get them to here, and they're between us and the station, so... full speed ahead, I guess. So, right up until we start taking hits, keep weapons at standard, but boost the engines as high as they can go without sacrificing weapon power for, well, everybody. Yeah, close enough. Come on. Have them go here. Turn on weapon ranges so I can see them. And the swordfish basically move faster than everybody else, so just going to have them go this way. And I think with the boosted engines, the peanut bar is actually outrunning the swordfish. So let's actually boost the swordfish's engines as well. So everybody's going this way. Have the biscuit turn not as far, so that way they're still within formation. And let's see what happens. Right, so on the plus side, everybody is turning towards us, so it's not a case that I have to chase anybody down. It's a case that I just have to simply kill them all. Okay, so I'll have the biscuit turn this way. The peanut bar turn this way to hopefully get these guys in the broadsides, so that way we can take care of it. We can take advantage of their weaker hull, side hulls. And I'll keep the swordfish angled with the peanut bar. In fact, they mentioned that the Guardians have missiles, so I'm also going to deploy a countermeasure. Right where the peanut bar should technically stop this turn. see what happens. Okay, so the fighting has started. Which means, hang on real quick, engines get cut to boost shields, we're keeping weapons the same. Also, the front shield took a few hits, but the front shield has the highest amount of shielding, so I'll keep it standard for now. And the peanut bar I can't talk anymore, keeps on its normal flight path, so that way these krill hopefully end up in its side arcs, and this disruptor, even though it's facing towards it, will end up getting shot by the forward laser. The biscuit will turn slightly this way and adjust the power accordingly. Turn slightly this way. I'll have the swordfish turn into the krill, because again, small ships fight small ships. And I probably should have adjusted the power and then moved the vessel. I'll also deploy another countermeasure over here. Not quite certain what happened to the other one. I actually deployed more than one countermeasure. I can. So let's deploy another one out here. Alright, so I'm guessing the countermeasures took out the homing missiles, which is probably a good thing. Okay, so I can deploy two countermeasures at once. So I'm going to have the peanut bar swing this way to hopefully get in between these two packs of disruptors. Even though they're at largely full health. They're not at largely full health, they are at full health. And I think they said that the disruptors will actually... Okay, so close range temporary energy disruption. So I probably actually should not get that close to them. So I'm going to do a hard turn this way. The biscuit's going to turn slightly here. And target... Yeah, this is the disruptor I want. Target this disruptor with 2 missiles. And then the pound cake will turn this way. Actually turn this way. And deploy more countermeasures because they probably still have missiles. Where's the ball of protectiveness? Okay, so this one goes here. And this one will go here. Shields are fine. Shields are fine. I'll have the swordfish swing this way. Hopefully they'll have the guardians in their sights. And now we see who died. Okay, so I'm guessing that's the disruption field. And somebody took a hull hit. And I was not paying attention, and I don't know if the missiles hit this disruptor or if the countermeasures did anything. So I'm going to have the biscuit turn this way. And the peanut butter bar took some hits to the top shield, so I'm just going to pull from everywhere. Even out the left and right shields. Pull a little from the front directly. The left a little bit. And that looks a little bit more even. Have them turn this way. Yeah, so the peanut butter bar actually took 17% hull damage. I'll have the swordfish swing back around here. It looks like that this Guardian is actually behind everybody now. So I'll have the Pound Cake do a hard turn this way, as well as deploy even more countermeasures. Here, you know what? Put it right in front of where the peanut butter bar is going to go, and then back over here. The Biscuit fired its missiles. Again, I don't know what they hit. For all I know, they hit the peanut butter bar. I really should pay more attention to these things. So we're basically right in the middle of everything. And it looks like the peanut butter bar might actually collide with these disruptors. So I'll drop it down a plane, but keep it during moving in its turn. Let's go. Alright, so on the plus side, I think they're actually killing off a lot of the krill, which is probably to the benefit. So looks like the peanut butter bar took another hit to the power field, and the Guardian disruptors are actually behind them, so I'll have them do a hard turn this way. Max out the rear shields. Put the left one down by 2 points. Do a hard turn this way. The Biscuit will swing in here. No. Biscuit will do a hard turn this way. And fire off 2 of its remaining missiles right at the front of this disruptor. Hopefully they won't miss this time. I don't know what happened to the first 2 missiles. And the swordfish, which I almost completely forgot about, will swing back around this way. And the albatross will turn this way. Hopefully keep this Guardian in its forward arc. I'm certain if the ion laser is doing anything against the Nautilid. Alright, so on the plus side, I know for a fact that these 2 missiles hit. Alright, so this Guardian's slightly injured, but it's moving away from everything, so I'm guessing it's trying to get range of my flotilla. So I'll have the swordfish swing back around to attack it. The peanut butter bar will swing this way to hopefully keep these disruptors in its starboard arc. I'll have the pound cake. Well, the pound cake turn this way to hopefully get the Guardian and / or this disruptor into its starboard arc as well, and then the Biscuit does a hard turn this way to try to get this Nautilid into its forward arc, although it now has power efficiency issues, so who knows what's going to happen. Also, those 2 missiles only did less than 50 points of damage, so fun. I was going to say that or it died, but I think it actually collided with this Guardian. This disruptor is now dead. And the pound cake took quite a bit of damage to the bottom shields. So I'm just going to pull from everywhere else to max that back out. And maybe boost the rear shields as well. And it actually collided with the disruptor. That's why the disruptor died. But this Guardian should be in its side arc, well, starboard arc. So hopefully, if the gun crews are doing anything, they should just wail on this Guardian, that or this disruptor. I'll have the biscuits do a... You know what? I'll actually have the biscuit turn this way, so that way you can hopefully keep these two in its aft arc for as long as possible, after which it starts hunting this thing. And it looks like it actually fired off an acid missile. So what I want are two countermeasures. Put right here. And here. To hopefully intercept them. Then the swordfish will turn to chase down this Guardian. And then the peanut butter and, well, I keep calling it peanut butter. And then the peanut bar will turn... No, the peanut butter... I'll just have the peanut bar move on its normal heading, or at least forward heading. I don't know if it's going to collide with these krill. I don't think so, otherwise I would have gotten a red icon here. But hopefully, it can keep these two in its starboard arc until this disruptor ends up in its starboard arc, and it can just wail on all of them. And these krill will be taken care of in some manner, I would assume. I hope. Right. So clearly whatever that green thing was, it wasn't a missile. But the biscuit is now heading straight towards this Guardian. And these swordfish are almost on top of it as well. Well, that's slightly so they stay in somewhat standard formation. I was going to say, I don't know where this Guardian went, but I think it's over here now. So I'll have the biscuit do a hard turn. Not biscuit, the peanut bar. Do a hard turn to hopefully keep this in its starboard arc. The same with the pound cake. So it looks like the pound cake got damaged here, but I think that's just its normal running lights. And hopefully it'll have take its time wailing on this disruptor with its starboard guns. That sounds like a plan. Okay, I have no idea what this beam was, unless that was the pound cake doing its thing. But this Guardian is now heavily injured, so I'm going to keep the swordfish on it. I know it said small ships go against small ships, but you'd be surprised what fighters can do against unprotected capital vessels. I'll have the biscuit swing back around this way to hopefully fight these krill. The peanut bar will turn this way to swing back towards this Guardian, which I think is probably the healthiest vessel on the enemy side right now. And yeah, pound cake will do a hard turn this way. Hopefully hopefully put this disruptor back into starboard batteries. If not, keep this one to the starboard. Also, I think I saw a missile around, so they're still firing off missiles, which means I need to fire off countermeasures wherever it went. So I'll put one here and another I'll put another one here. Okay, so now this disruptor is severely injured, as is this one. This Guardian is somewhat injured, it's just shy of half health. And this one is near death at 4 points. So I'm going to have the swordfish keep wailing on it. You know what, I'll have one swordfish keep wailing on it. The other swordfish will swing back around towards the disruptor. So the jam will head towards the disruptor. The honey will keep on this Guardian. The biscuit will try to kill this krill. I think green's the front still, so hopefully it'll swing into this arc. The peanut bar will keep on its standard heading, so that way hopefully it'll be behind the Guardian to use its primary laser. And its port batteries should be facing this disruptor still. And then the pound cake just tries to keep its starboard batteries on this one, if not this one. And we start. Okay, so this Guardian is now dead. Alright, so Commander, these larger Nautilids are just like the Yardsman said. When anyone gets too close, they do something that disrupts the reactor cores. That's what Danny Bridge, I believe, said. Tell the fleet to maintain their distance. They don't want anyone sunk because they don't have power to keep their shields up. End of transmission. So I'm guessing we got hit multiple times. On the plus side, these disruptors are now dead, as is this one. So the what was it, the honey? Yeah, someone killed this Guardian. So all that's left is just this Guardian and this krill. So everybody dogpile on the Guardian because it's a missile boat and probably the deadlier of the two. Certainly the bigger of the two. So swing this way. Of the pound cake, do a hard turn. Hopefully get this krill in line. And if not, the biscuit should turn this way. Then I'll have the jam swing around to hopefully fight the krill as well. And he may have launched another missile. So I'm thinking that's what this green contrail is. So you know what? Countermeasure time. I have 9 countermeasures left. So I've actually burned through over half my countermeasures. So I'll just deploy one right here. There we go. Okay, so that wasn't a missile. And that krill is now dead. Yeah, that krill is now dead. So all that's left is this Guardian that's been severely injured. So again, basically everybody dogpile on that. So Pound Cake does a hard turn. In fact, everybody not already facing the remaining Guardian, which is pretty much everybody except the honey and the peanut bar, does a hard turn. Sort of, kind of ish, maybe. And then we open fire. Hopefully. Maybe. No, looks like everybody's out of the arc, so... Hard turn this way? Hard turn this way? Maybe not a hard enough. Yeah, sorry, I'm turn. Just turn this way. You go here. You go here. You goose engines. And then swing wide. No, do a hard turn this way. Yeah, I'd boost its engines and then basically just have it sit there turning. I know. Okay. So intercept and eliminate the Nautilid forces. All marks down. Raiders got all marks down. Raiders got a rash of activity beyond our patrol nav points. Commander, priority alert. Multiple marks are incoming to your current location. Bearing nav points have been pushed to your console. is getting bigger than we were told. Why has nothing been announced through command or NavSec channels? Unhashed broadsheet channels are on delay while your specific objectives are in progress. Command isn't making these attacks known publicly. Worry about the politics later. Right now we need to hold the defensive lines here so the shipyards can stay online. Alright, so one thing that did happen right at the very end is I think the Guardian launched a missile, and because I didn't have any spare countermeasures deployed, because I wasn't paying attention, I think the Honey took a major hit. I don't know if it's dead, but it's certainly on fire. So close. Okay, so we have the Peanut Bar with 6 kills again. Strongest kill was the Guardian. It took 32% shield hits and 20% hull damage. The Pound Cake took out 3 enemies, and its strongest enemy was a Disruptor. It lost only 10% shield, but no hull damage. The Biscuit killed 1 krill. All of that, and it killed 1 krill. To be fair, it did also do 152 points of damage. So I'm guessing those first 2 missiles missed. And then the Honey had no kills, and it took 32 points of hull damage. Whereas the Jam took no hull damage. Alright, so I don't know if that final missile flagged the ship as killed or not. So, were to see looking off of this, I would assume no, but I don't know exactly how many hull points a Raider actually has. So, I don't know if it's dead or not. But war scale is still defensive at 6.3. So let's proceed. Okay, I'm assuming these are still the same news broadcasts. So we have Great Dice and Joyce Disappearing Act. Could we be looking at a shakeup of the Coalition Board of Directors? It's been a rough morning for board pundits today amidst naval and ground force deployments. Trade drops across the table and a failed public release of information requests by the board in response to attacks on naval capital assets. Added to the drama is an unheaded broadsheet transmission from the office of LOCOM Executive Director Hector Gregory, BIS, detailing 2 missing persons reports, one for Gregory's ailing superior, Lenny Joyce, BIS, and the other for a war hero, Vice Admiral and Humanitarian Chair Frieden Dice, CBX. I have no idea what these acronyms are for, initials are for. I'm assuming companies that they lead. Boardwalk insiders are as yet unwilling to comment on the disappearance of 2 Coalition Executive Board leaders, Joyce and Dice. We're not known to see eye to eye on many board motions, but neither were their relations as frosty as those more recently between Dice and Gregory. I'm going to call him Gregory until I forget. It's no secret that Joyce's temporary successor at the head of the table has no time for the indecisive stalling ploys of Vice Admiral Dice. The disappearance of these 2 political figures comes at a strange time, as Dice's own daughter was mistakenly reported lost in the attacks, that the Naval Admiralty has refused the release of information requests. As naval and ground force deployments continue to proceed unannounced, Dice and Joyce putting aside differences to manipulate a political coup over an increasingly failing board could be possible, but their timing is at best questionable. So, political stuff happening. Alright, so I once again have 2 branching missions. One is Starboard Sweep, which has a mission description of aggressive, where Yardsman Felicitor is asking for naval defenses along both port and starboard sides of the station against the incoming pods. The hostiles have to make sharp trajectory changes to turn into the starboard side of the station. We can expect smaller, faster pods on this side, which means less room to move. On the plus side, only their smaller forces can make it this far around. So sweep out the krill threatening starboard, the starboard of Delta Mark II, or port side defense, where the mission description is defensive. Yardsman Felicitor is asking for naval defenses along both port and starboard sides of the station against incoming pods. Port side of DM2 is wide open to the broad sweeps of the approaching Nautilids. AK says this side will be targeted with their heavier artillery, but the open space should leave us more room to maneuver around and flank the hostiles. So basically, I have a choice between fighting smaller, faster vessels with less room to move around in, and targeting larger, heavier vessels with more room to maneuver around in. And I don't know the status of my fleet. I can only check crew. I just selected a mission to see what the fleet status was. Both the Gem and the Honey are still here, so I'm assuming that whichever swordfish got tagged is still alive. So, of course, I do also have the Butter, but the Butter hasn't really been fighting anything. So while the Honey and the Jam, the Peanut Bar, the Pound Cake, and the Biscuit are somewhat seasoned crews, the Butter is not. If I had an extra command point and no extra ship to deploy, the Butter would tag along. But I can't, so it's the Spare. Also, I now have 89 points of reinforcement available, so I can almost get a new Raider. But those are my options. I can fight faster enemy vessels in less space, or larger enemy vessels in more space. So I do have to consider my options. I mean, my bigger vessels have been sweeping the Krill back and forth like it's nobody's business. I mean, I practically haven't been paying much attention, and all the Krill die. Whereas the heavier vessels will probably do more damage to the Shipyard, and I'll have more means of moving around, which is pretty much the lifeblood in this game. If you stop, you basically become a sitting target. If you become a sitting target, you die. So, constantly moving seems to be the thing. But as I said, I have two options to choose from. A decision to make as to which side I want to fight and who I want to fight. And I guess we proceed from there. But all of that is going to be another issue for another day, because I'm going to call it here.
Everybody stay safe from the plague, and have a good day.